All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the LSL College Football Recruiting Tutorial. The revamped recruiting is finally here. I know you guys have been waiting for this for a while, and those of you who are joining the league, welcome. Make sure to watch every slide and pay attention pretty closely. It's more complex than it used to be, but it's a lot better than it used to be also. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into this. So the absolute basics of recruiting. Those of you who have been here, how does recruiting work? And also, a lot of you know already, but the fundamentals are about to change, and I love the shaking. Um, so users on Instagram join our high school league at Legends High School underscore high school football. Make sure to go follow him. And they interact as they prepare for college. Their activities, such as posts, chatting, stream activity, now being the biggest factor, etc., determines their star values. So 3, 4, or 5 star, and maybe not this year, but season or two, there may be 0, 2, or no rating players that haven't been ranked. Um, and they're 247 composite rating, and now they're on 3 rating slash star. So there are now 2 sets of rankings in LSL. There's the 247 and the on 3, which are completed by 2 different people who factor different things in different priorities, just like in real life, how those rankings really vary a lot anymore. So we will get into those differences soon, but honestly, I've already pretty much explained it. It's they factor different activities with higher priorities. But anyway, recruits are released in a singular wave rather than multiple waves as done previously and in a lot of other sim leagues, and are recruited in various stages, which we will go over soon. Coaches go to the recruiting sheet and see all the players and their info and their Instagram at. They will approach their choice of players by DMing their player account. After the various stages, will then commit. Each recruit that a coach engages with requires him to use a letter of interest and, upon commitment, a scholarship. Now, for those of you who have been here, you know that that sounds different. There's no more inquiries. Those have been eliminated from LSL, so you don't have to worry about those anymore. And optional use of a scout or visit. Those are 2 brand new things, which we get into, don't worry. Um, you will track your own information and update it in the recruiting sheet. Not me, you. I do not touch this, although I will penalize you for getting it wrong, which we verify at the end of the recruiting session. So make sure you're on top of that, because if you don't, you will lose the same number of scholarships and letters of interest that you fail to track on there by 2, and it will go into the next season as well if you're at 0 already. So if you were to use 6 scholarships, or not 6 scholarships, excuse me, 6 letters of interest over your limit, would then next season have 12 scholarship or 12 letter of interest reduction. So don't do that. It'll mess you up. So interest letters, the extension of an official offer. In order for a recruit to commit, you must offer an interest letter first. Without it, they will be a walk-on and severe penalties are placed. Interest letters are scholarship offers at its core. It is my great honor to officially offer you a full-ride scholarship at the University of Little Brother. Note, you can offer a scholarship in your initial DM, which will not count as an inquiry. If you wish to save inquiries, which just is useless now. I forgot to update this. Essentially, don't even worry about the last part. When you message a recruit and start engaging with him, you are offering him. In previous years, we had inquiries, which essentially meant your initial message to a recruit. That no longer costs anything. But as soon as you engage in discussion of commitment, not just like, hey, this is the so and so, is your recruiting open? That is no longer a thing. As soon as you enter into any discussion of commitment or serious recruitment, it becomes an official offer. So I suggest using a message like, "It is my great honor to officially offer blah 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 blah," because inquiries are no longer a thing. So scholarships. All right, the official commitment of a player. A scholarship is used when a recruit that you have offered officially commits to your program. This is not used when you offer and is only spent when they officially announce their program, and only if it is you they have chose. Now, something different here. You do not use a scholarship until they sign now, which you will understand, okay? So they commit and then they sign. Commitments do not equal scholarships. It's once they officially sign to your team, which we will get into, like I said, all right? That's really important. Example, you have DM'd the linebacker Ray Lewis and have informed him of your official offer. After 2 days of pitching and messaging, he announces on his Instagram, officially committed to Purdue Stepchild University. You, being PSCU, will go into recruiting sheet and subtract the scholarship. Scholarships are used for transfers, but not walk-ons, 2 or 3 stars without an offer. In addition, there are 0 circumstances in which a coach will use a scholarship without a commitment. Okay, cool. Easy enough. That makes sense, hopefully. New thing, so pay attention. Visits. This has never really been done before in Sim League, alright? So, even if you're experienced, you're going to want to listen to this. The newest concept in a real setting, universities are limited to a number of official visits and limited to when they can do them. Same is here. Visits are when a recruit is in a group chat with anyone other than the head coach or assistant coach or executives and are used to have the player meet the team or specific player. One other thing that's not mentioned here, it is also whenever you take them around campus, show them buildings, give them visit pics. Same thing. Okay? Now, in real life, universities are very restricted in when they can do this and how many of them they have. And before an LSL, people would just invite all the recruits and bring them into the same group chat at once. And then they'd all get to know each other and they become friends and then they'd commit to the same place. And it was a really unfair advantage. This happened at a couple places. I'm not going to name names, but it was totally unfair because other coaches are individually messaging these guys while they're busy interacting with each other because they were on the same high school team or whatever. Anyway, yeah, you're limited now. You can't do this. So, example, you, Johnson McDingleberry, a 5-star QB, are added to the team chat to meet the players, or McDingleberry is added to a group chat with another recruit, or you add a recruit to a group chat with another teammate or player on your team. Those are just a few examples of this, but in short, it is creating a group chat with someone other than you, your assistant coach, and an executive, and recruiting them. Period. Okay? You can't add them to group chats with another high school player and talk to each other. Can't recruit the same pitch to multiple players in the same group chat. As soon as you add another recruit or player into a group chat, you have officially used a visit. Period. Visits are used for all recruits, including transfers. Visits are replenished during the transfer portal to half their previous amount. You start with 8 and get 4 during transfer. I believe it's actually you get 6, but this is kind of what it looks like right now. The numbers aren't exactly correct, but this is the recruiting sheet, which I'll get off of this after we go through all of this and show you what the recruiting sheet looks like. So here's the breakdown. All right, so you got commitments, which you'll track that based on how many players commit to your team. Scholarships, it starts at 15 letters of interest, and then visits, which are 8. Okay, my apologies. Scouts are 6. It shows 4 here, but it starts at 6. So, you track all 4 of these. Actually, my bad. It should say track all 4 of these. Coaches are required to update these themselves. Assistant coaches should always be aware of this number and work with coaches to ensure you do not go over. If you go over, severe penalties are handed. Yes, your assistant coaches count towards your offers. Breaking news. Next slide. This is what the recruiting page kind of looks like. It's going to update this year because we're going to have an on 3. So just imagine having another thing. This is 247 stars, on 3 stars, 247 composite, on 3, whatever their thing is, rating. I'll have to look into that. And so that's kind of how that will look. Everything else will be generally the same. I'll show you their team, their position, their height and weight, their archetype. Right? Now this is where the fun begins. Scouts, the basics, the newest concept in LSL, the way you find out who is for real and who is Mike Ross. I hope some of you understand that that little bit of reference. Players' activity is now hidden through private stories, only viewable by myself and high school. So sorry, you can't just go on a player and see if they've posted a lot anymore. Now you know they're good. We are making it more complicated than that. Sorry about it. All right. Jokingly, but recruiting rankings are no longer 100% accurate. This is another big thing. Instead, there are gems and frauds spread throughout the list. Just like real life, there could be an underrepresented 5-star sitting in the middle of the 3 stars. There could be a 3-star that really is a 5-star. Only way you figure that out is through scouting. And the fun thing about this too is even spread throughout, the 5 stars might not be accurate. There could be a 5 star at the top that really like, but he might actually be down sort of lower on the end, or a 4 star kind of towards the top that really should be kind of down in the middle or down at the bottom. So that stuff is going to be really common now throughout the recruiting rankings, just like real life. So now coaches must send scouts to games to find stats and stars. This is going to be fun. All right, scouts how to. Part 1. You have 6 uses each season, and 1 additional for each assistant coach who must be active to perform the task themselves. So you do not just get, because you have 2 assistant coaches hired, you don't get to just send yourself to it because you have an assistant coach. They have to actively be active to go and perform it themselves. You don't get to do that for your assistant coach, but they provide you 1 additional scout. So you would, in total, would get 8 with 2 assistant coaches. Okay. You can send your AC for any of the 6 to 8 total scout trips. Okay. Whereas you can only go for the 6 ones you have, you can send your AC for any of them. Excuse me. Hiccuped a little. To scout, choose a game on the high school slate when it releases, and DM high school to inform him you will be attending the game before the results are released. That's really important. Also, if you don't know what the schedule is, go into his page and he has the schedule posted in his bio. So you can click the link in his bio and see the schedule in high school. So you can kind of go through the coaches sheet and the rankings and see, okay, I want to look at all these 5 stars. Let me schedule that out and make sure I have all the correct games listed so that I have times to go. And then when playoffs are released, you can go to those games as well. All right, how to part 2. You can ask for one side of the ball on each team depending on which players you want to focus on, and you have to do this before the game starts. Okay, just like when you DM him, hey, I want to go to this team, this game, you also have to tell him, I want to watch Otter Days on the defensive side of the ball and IMG on the offensive side of the ball, or both on the defense, or whatever it is you want to do, both on the offense. Either way, whenever you scout a game, you have to choose one side of the ball that you scout on each team. Okay, so offense or defense on each team. You don't get to scout both, one of each. You get to scout both teams, but each with one side of the ball. Now, one more explanation to that for those of you that don't understand and are, you know, trying to process in your brain or whatever. You get to scout each team, but on each team, you only get to pick one side of the ball. Now, you can choose the same side of the ball for both teams or different sides of the ball, or both. Okay, hope that makes sense. Next, after the game, you will go to high school and ask for the stats from the game. Really simple, okay? Just ask, hey, can I have the stats for the offense and the defense as I asked earlier? Then he'll send you all that. These stats will greatly reflect players' abilities in most cases. Sometimes, however, you may want to see a team multiple times if a particular 3-star catches your eye. So, for example, you have your your scouting strategy laid out, and you're like, okay, you go to this one game, and some player from Centennial goes off. This 3-star that's like near the bottom of the list goes off, has 3 interceptions and 13 tackles and 4 TFLs and a forced fumble. You're like, oh god, okay, this guy's legit. You can then be like, all right, well, let's go ahead and watch him again and make sure that those stats, and if the stats happen in multiple games, if he's balling out every game, then you can be like, okay, this guy's really underrated. He might be a gem, and that can be a really big deal. Don't assume that after one game, this 3-star went off, that he is automatically going to be a secret 5-star. You don't know 100%, but the chances are likely more than not. We're not trying to fool you. But their ratings will match their performance on the field most of the time, but you'll have oddities once in a while. All right. Now, this is the other really, really big change. LSL NCAA account. I sent this in the channel, but those of you who are going to be joining later on, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. Follow at lsl.lcaa ASAP immediately. This is a requirement if you're going to be a coach. This account is required as it is a new layer of security to monitor recruiting between coaches and players. All conversations between recruits must include this account in a group chat, and any communication outside of this is prohibited in all cases, and unless it is an official visit in a team chat that at Legends NCAF, aka me, already in. Not add NCAAF to your recruiting messages. Only this account. However, NCAF should remain in team group chats. That cannot be any clearer. Don't add my main account to the group chats, please. I already have 200 messages I go through a day. Please keep all your recruiting with that guy, lsl.lcaa, in the group chats. All right? Don't add me. Keep me in your team group chats, though. I should not leave those. Understood? Cool. If you want to add LCA to your team group chats too, should, and I recommend it, but you don't have to. Unless, and this includes visits. So if you're just going to create a group chat for a visit and you're not going to bring them to your team chat, please add this account too. All right, not please, must add this account too. This got added because a couple waves ago now, Alabama's head coach Trice decided that he would talk to recruits on Discord servers and have absolutely no evidence whatsoever that he ever recruited them. Turns out later on that he didn't actually recruit them. They were just his friends, and it was predetermined. So to prevent that, we're adding this account because now you can't just send 3 messages and the guy commits to you. We're gonna raise red flags to that. So yeah, this will be required because now you're gonna know that you're a guy. And if a dude suspiciously commits to you, sorry, bro. All right. Recruiting stages, grace and dead periods. Oh no, what is this? This is the biggest change. Congrats, you've made it this far. This is huge stuff. No one has ever done this. All right. We test ran it on college basketball and we changed a lot because it was too much. So let's get into it. Week 1, a 5-day period where recruiting opens. All right, official letters of interest and initial pitches are allowed, but scheduling of visits are allowed, but not allowed to actually take. So you can schedule when the visits will be with your player, but you cannot actually take them. I'm going to skip through this a little bit here. You'll have week 2, which is a dead period. Week 3, which lasts 3 days. Week 4 is going to be a dead period, aka week 4. And then the final period will be signing week. All right, let's explain this. Let's break it all down. So week 1 opens up. And I would take a screenshot of this so you can follow and not break any rules because I know it seems like a lot, but it really is simple. It's not that hard to follow. Take a screenshot, make sure you're following these rules, and you'll be fine. Okay? Week 1 is when everything opens up. You're allowed to offer people your letters of interest and begin your recruitment. Start talking to players. Do not lay your entire pitch out like this right here because there's a lot more to do. A lot more to do. This is kind of the bulk of your pitch. Okay, this is kind of where a lot of it goes down. Then that'll be a 5-day period. Then for a week, which will be the weekend or 2 days after, and plus 5 days, so 7 full days after the first week of recruiting, will be a dead period. Recruits take a break and continue their high school season. You can scout during this time, but are banned from talking to recruits. That's what's key. So before, in season-long recruiting, which is something some sim leagues have tried, recruits already make their decision in a couple days. In this case, you have 5 days to recruit, then it closes. Boom, recruiting closed. No communication whatsoever for an entire week. You're not allowed to talk to recruits. You're not allowed to message them. You're not allowed to smell them. You're not allowed to do anything to them. All right? You can scout during this time. So if you aren't really feeling like, oh crap, my list of guys, they seem like they're more interested in these places, I'm a dip. I'm gonna go use my last 2 scouts. Let me try to find a gym somewhere in the 3 stars. That's what the point of the dead period is for you, and for the recruits, is for them to digest all this recruiting information, think about it, and continue their high school career, and maybe even boost their activity up. Maybe boost their activity up and increase their star rating. And then week 3 opens, which is only a 3-day period. Okay, this is a 3-day period after this. You only get 3 days to do this. Visits and recruiting continues. Recruits are officially allowed to visit chats and go on visits, with visit pictures and so on, as we discussed earlier, okay? How visits work now. In addition to continuing discussion, lastly, recruits can make commitments on final day of this week. Okay, understand this. They cannot commit any day during this 3-day period. On the final day of this third day of this week, all right, they can commit. This is what's really important. We talked about earlier about signing, okay? Can't sign yet, but you commit, which means like, all right, I'm going I'm 89.3% committed jokingly. You know how recruits always say I'm 100% committed and then so on, but I'm committed to the University of Notre Dame. All right, which will never happen, of course. Sorry, Pike. Then you I'm kidding. That was bad. Then the recruiting will end that third day. You don't have to commit. Players do not have to commit during this day, by the way. I want to emphasize that. You don't have to commit. You can commit. Okay. Then we get a dead period. Now, this is not a set time frame. This is just for the last games of high school, however many need to be done. You can still scout if you haven't, for whatever reason, used your scouting, which at this point, you're probably screwed if you haven't. Or if you kind of are stuck between two guys that you're recruiting, like two different backs. And high school recruits will continue their season, finish their season, and then we'll winter into signing week. Immediately after the final playoff game, the day after will be signing week, which will be a 3-day period. And we're probably going to have people doing live signings and stuff like that. It'll be really fun. Okay. A 3-day period where players make the final decisions and you as coaches make your final pushes. What's important here is if a guy committed on week 3 on the third day, they don't have to sign with you. Sorry, they could decommit the first day of the signing week and go somewhere else. It's gonna hurt, but that's real life. So they can decommit and sign somewhere else until that guy that committed to you on day 3 has officially signed with you. He is not on your team yet. However, in order for this, listen to this, please. This is really important. In order for coaches to be allowed to engage with the recruit after they've committed, the player must make a post publicly acknowledging that they have deepened their commitment. So a coach can't come sweeping underneath you because you think you've got a guy and you're working on someone else's and you get screwed. That you can't do that. You as a player would have to publicly announce you are reopening your commitment for coaches to be allowed to message you. And that goes for you coaches. You can't message a guy after he says he's committed unless he opens his commitment again. Okay? Has to be a public post. Now, during this 3 days, players commit for the first 2. And on the final day, they officially sign. They don't need to make a post saying that they're signing, but if they have not decommitted from the place where they went, they will sign automatically on the third day or make their official commitment on the third day. The third day is the final day you can commit. And when you commit on the third day, there's no decommitting, period. And there's no decommitting in this week either, period. Okay? Once you commit somewhere, you've signed on in this whole period, okay, during this 3 days. Cool? All right. That should be as clear as possible. New rules. Pay attention. Take screenshots of this. Keep it in your phone. Don't complain to me. All right. Now also, there's also unwritten rules that are basic sense. And if I tell you that you're doing it wrong, listen to me. Don't. Illegal transfer violation A. Do not attempt to persuade players transfer while they've committed to another team. Legal transfer B. Do not discuss transferring to a committed player if you are not their coach, etc., etc. Take a screenshot of this. Read through all of it. I'm not going to sit here and read it. Okay? All right. Next one. Take a screenshot of this. Not going to read through all of it. This is mainly one thing that was broken a lot, though I will mention, is copyright violations. You can't take real-life scholarship graphics or visits from universities that are using them in real life. You can't do that. You got to make your own, guys. Can't do that. It's illegal. Figure out how to do graphic design. It's a part of being a really good coach. And if you can't do it, find someone who can. It's a part of coaching. So it's a part of the reason we're that competitive. Okay? You don't have to have elite graphics to be good. You just have to have decent graphics. And then also, you don't necessarily have to have commitment graphics because we've got media pages all over the place that do commitment posts for people. So mainly, it comes down to your offer. Just make something. Look up something online and take inspiration from it. You can't be identical, but take inspiration from it. All right, cool. Here it is. Recruiting rules. These are new rules. And these are all based around the new stuff that we introduced, okay? And a lot of this happened thanks to a really big issue that happened. So, breach of dead period, having any contact whatsoever with a recruit during the dead period with exceptions of essential real life activity. For example, if you know a guy in real life, all right, and you work with him, just don't talk about recruiting with him. Like, it's not that difficult. But if you have to talk to him because you work with him, I can't control that. Hosting a visit, committing early, or doing anything outside of the scheduled times. Self explanatory. Interacting with a recruit outside of chat in any fashion other than liking posts. So you can like a recruit's post, even though they're not really going to be posting much. But you can't comment. You can't message them. Illegal scouting, having a conversation with a recruit or other source in order to gain stats or player performance outside of legal scouting rules or other methods to gain such information. If we find that you are getting stats by asking players for them or trying to get stats by talking to another coach or using player group chats because you have a player, that is going to be one of the most serious punishments you can imagine. Like, you are going to lose all scholarships for the season. That type of serious. You're not going to be able to recruit. Don't break this rule. Illegal. Have fun by not breaking rules. Not really trying if you're cheating. All right. Wrongful communication. Rule A. No discussion of recruiting with a player outside of Instagram and a group chat with LSL.LCAA in any capacity. All communication must reside within Instagram, and deletions of discussions on Instagram is prohibited. All right. Cannot talk to anyone outside of Instagram regarding recruiting. Period. If I ask you, hey, where's your messages with this guy? Oh, well, we talked on Discord. We're friends. Done. Gone. You're out. You're done. Don't do that. Has to be an Instagram, and you can't delete messages. And it's easy to tell if you guys do. It really is. Yeah. Wrongful communication B. Do not have any discussion with recruits through calls or voice communications unless directly documented or replayable by the LSL.LCAA account. Cool. New rules. Take a screenshot of that, as I said. Rewind if you have to. All right. Next thing is this. Coaches sheet 2027, 2028. This is just what it looks like, guys, okay? So when I mention your offers page, this is what we're talking about. Your scholarship page, whatever it may be. Okay, this is where you update your stuff. So let's say you're Michigan. All right, I got 14 scholarships because one guy committed to me. I've offered 12 guys. I would do that, and then I've used free visits and all my scouts. Really simple. Okay, that's how simple it is to update the stuff. It doesn't take much. Not rocket science. You're capable. Okay, strategies and communication or coordinators. All right, this page just shows everyone's strategies, and you'll have to update this when you become a new coach. I'll add you to the sheet, and you will go in and you'll put in your information. It has to be NCAA 14 playbooks. Can't be team playbooks. This is schedules, contracts, which you're not really look at very long, and here's recruits. This is where the page will be, right here on this tab. It's not here now. It will be. All right, that's what the coach's sheet looks like. Now, really, that's going to be all we're going to talk about today. Now there is a tutorial for how to recruit, and that's, if you want it, ask whoever sent you this video for training purposes. And they'll send it to you. It's the old recruiting. Skip everything and go right to the recruiting tutorial, because that is made by Oklahoma State in our league. He may be retired by the time you watch this, but he was the best recruiter ever come across LSL. So yeah, check that out. You can see how he made his pitch and how he constructs it in a real life format. So good stuff. Anyway, guys, good luck. Have fun. Remember, it takes time to be good at anything. Recruiting is no different. Yep, real fun, motivational stuff from Mish. Have a good one, folks, and don't cheat.